Hello, how are you? Happy Thursday, wherever you are. Just looking a little organized here. Have I forgotten how to do this? I don't know. How are you guys? It's been so long, and thanks for being so patient. I really I couldn't trust myself to, cough for no reason at all, because I've had these really weird allergies, so I didn't want to put you guys through that. And I'm really sorry, because I know some people are really interested in sewing some menswear, and I couldn't keep the cutting stream. I'm really sorry about that, but I'll cut one of these out again one day. And I don't think I've ever cut the Archer button-up on camera. I haven't right now. Hi, Ida. So, yeah, we'll get back to this. I think this is going to be a really good pattern to sew, repeatedly for my husband. So, and it's his birthday next week, so I really need to sew it. So, what are you guys up to? How you been? Did you have a good weekend? I've just been kind of like chipping away at junk here, So, hi, Gil or Jill. I can't remember if it's Gil or Jill. I don't know if you answered me. So, welcome. Welcome to everybody. If you're new here, we would really like it if you chat with us if you want and feel comfortable with it. Just create a channel on YouTube, which is also known as an account. That's all it is. It's like their security thing. Thanks, Veronica. I never really felt that bad. Like, I know now I feel better than I did then, but you know how allergies make you feel? They just make you feel like, you're like, do I have a cold or do I not have a cold? That's kind of how I felt. But I just kept like choking on nothing. I don't know what it was. Like, I don't even have a runny nose. Go figure. I've never had allergies here like that. Like this kind. Like Jill. Okay, just making sure. Could go either way, right? Yeah. Okay, so for those of you who endured the cutting stream, where I almost died, I'm being melodramatic. It was totally fine. I just, choked on air. It was no big deal. For those of you who watched me cut out most of this, you know that at one point I realized, hi Julian, how's it going? Welcome. My husband loves Berlin, by the way. He studied in Germany, speaks fluent German, goes there 2 or 3 times a year, loves Berlin. He's never taken me to Berlin. He went to Heidelberg, that's where he went to college. And I've gone all over southern Germany, but I don't know it as well as him. And his grandmother is German, who we take care of here. So, anyway, let me get back to the cutting. So I really want to make sure I mention this, because those of you who, because I don't have the cutting stream, and I really apologize for that, if you cut one of these out, note that on the front pieces, you are supposed to cut those face down, which is really counter to probably how the rest of the pattern is. You can cut the whole pattern out face down, but then you can't see like the markings or where you're supposed to notch. But you need to cut those face down, because otherwise you'll get a shirt that buttons right over left, like a woman's shirt does. And if you want to sew this traditionally, like a traditional men's shirt, it should button left over right, and they are different from each other, the left and the right front. So I had enough fabric that I could actually recut both fronts completely, no problem. I was really lucky. I'm usually really good about not buying extra fabric, but I think I just went by the pattern recommendations. Plus I did the short sleeve, and the sleeves take a lot of fabric, so that really helped me recover that. And I thought, I'll just do some tricky stuff and make these fronts work. But you know what? No, I'm not going to do that, because I don't have a cutting stream for you. I at least want the sewing stream to reflect exactly how the pattern is written. So I just want you to be aware of that if you have not cut out your fronts, that they should be cut out front, face down, and then you're going to have to mark the pocket on there best you can, because you have to flip it over to do the pocket marking, but it's not going to be like, anyway, you'll see what I mean when you get there. I just want you to know that. No big deal. So what are you guys working on? Let me make sure I'm not missing anybody in Twitch. Mim, How's it going? Miriam, if you're still here when I leave, will you please walk me through rating you? If you're going to stream. Are you streaming? So I am talking to people both on YouTube and Twitch, just so you guys know. And my most of you are over here on YouTube, but there's a few people on Twitch, which I love, and so does Miriam. I keep forgetting to do it, Miriam, like every time. I don't know you're live, and then I don't check, and then I'm like, dang it, I can't rate her now. So you're gonna have to walk me through it if you're still here, if you want to, and you're streaming. If all those things fall into place, let's make it happen, because I want to try it out, you know? I want to be one of those people. So, anywho, shall we sew? Shall we sew? Shall we sew? It's been so long. I've been sewing. I've made 2 pairs of free range slacks. I converted 2 ready-to-wear shirts into shirts I'll actually wear. I cut the heck out of my Callie shirt dress into a shirt. So it still has pockets, and then I put vents on the sides. So I just blow out your eyeballs with this pink. And I don't like it still. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to get rid of the vents right here. These are vents, side slits. What do you guys call them? Vents, slits, right? And I'm going to make it so that what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to raise up the front. I'm going to make it like a curve. So, oh, Cora, I haven't heard of that. You know, Veronica, that's awesome. I don't know if you've been watching for very long, but Miriam Felton, who is Mim is Making on Twitch. I just dumped all my pattern pieces into the garbage. She turned me on to how to use Trello. Oh, bummer, Miriam. She turned me on to using Trello, and I'm using it in the most basic way, like really basic. Like I actually use it to organize my patterns so that when I'm at the fabric store and I'm like, this fabric would really, really great for that pattern, I can just pull up the pattern card and see what yardage I need, you know, instead of Googling it. Because sometimes, you know, when you're deep in a fabric store, you can't use the Google very well. You know what I mean? So I haven't heard of Cora, but I'm going to check that out. But Trello is pretty good. And if you want to see how I did it, because I'm using it in the most basic way. Like Miriam does lots of things. She organizes her stash. She says if she's pre-washed it, what she's earmarking the fabric for, if it's a knit, if it's a stretch. I'm just using it just for my pattern cards. So all I'm doing is titling, putting a title in, and the photos of the front and the back of the pattern card, or at least however many pictures it takes to get the information I need to access it offline. I did my little miniature video in the Upton dress video. I think it's cutting out the Upton dress, and it's 1 hour and 17 minutes in. I just happened to know this because I ran into someone at a fabric store, and she overheard me asking someone, and we were talking, and I mentioned this app, and she said, hey, I heard you talking about this app, what is it? And I just said, you know, I have a video, I'll look it up and I'll email it to you. So I happen to know, so anyway. All right, I'm gonna start sewing so I stop talking as much because my body doesn't like me lately, so. All right, so this is my interfacing. I'm not using a fusible interfacing. I'm just using some chambray that I have here because I don't really need to do the fusible interfacing, and I really like using fabrics. So I think this will work really good. This is from a pair of free range slacks that I just made. All right, so here's my left front, my right front. Look at my pocket. You can't even see it in there. So like I just magically cut a piece of fabric out there. You have a random question for me, Miriam? Go for it. You probably didn't hear me talking to you earlier then because, oh, cool, Veronica. That's good to know. So Cora, so we want to hear about Cora. When you get through that, we all want to hear about Cora. Okay, Miriam has a question. If I'm taking a dress that's meant for a low stretch fabric, the kilo wrap dress, and using a woven, should I go up 1 or 2 sizes? Ooh. Where are you at in the size range? Hello, Razla. I can never tell if that's an L or a T. Razlalik. Ooh, thank you. Yes, you're making your dad a shirt for the summer. That's awesome. I need to make my dad one too. So Miriam, what I would do is compare your measurement. Your bust is spot on, the waist is spot on, the hip is a little small. Your hip or the dress's hip is a little small. I'm going to say the dress is. Otherwise, I don't think you'd mention it. I've talked with people about sizing so much that I can kind of usually guess why they say something. Oh, Nancy, nice to see you. You know, Miriam, what's the seam allowance on the kilo? I'm about to make that one too, actually. I was going to ask these guys what they want me to make next, and Hearts gave me the kilo, you guys, and I know Nancy's made one. Nancy, how does your kilo fit? And did you use, 3/8, no joke? That's rare. Nancy, does your kilo, you're a pretty petite gal. Did you go up or down or how was the sizing for you on it? And was your fabric a woven or a stretch? Yeah, there's not much room for, okay, Miriam, another question for the kilo. Is the sizing on that lettered or numbered sizing? Like, is it 6, 8, 10, 12, 14? Or is it small, medium, large, extra large? Because the grade rules are different. So that's what I would numbered. All right, so what I would do then is go up a size, and then you can, that's like gonna make it 1 inch bigger, not much, usually. Oh, with UK, US, and European. Yeah, okay. You could go up a size. So wait, let me read your fabric thing again here. You're taking a dress that's meant for a low stretch fabric and using a woven. I haven't made that one. It's really hard for me to tell. Okay, so Nancy says on YouTube, she says she used a woven fabric that came in her your needle shrimp box. A really beautiful drapey fabric. Okay, and so did you just use the stated size? Your fabric is a beautiful silk noil. Ooh, that sounds nice. I love silk noil. So Nancy used a woven, and I'm wondering if I doubt she made any size things, but I don't know. I can't remember. So maybe go up 1 size. It's only 1 inch bigger. That's so easy to alter. You are fully capable of taking it in if you needed to, right? So, and you get that extra inch. We can call it seam allowance. I don't know. That dress is not a clingy dress. Yeah, right? That's what I'm thinking, Miriam. 1 size should be good. That dress is not like a tight, stretchy looking dress when it's being worn. So I feel like you have some leeway there. Is the ease on the pattern positive ease or negative ease? Does it say? Like when you look at, usually they'll say this has, right, yeah, it is kind of a formal dress in it, but then you can make it kind of casual, exactly. Does it say on the sizing if it has positive or negative ease? If it has negative ease, then you need some stretch. But if it doesn't have negative ease, then you're probably fine. Yeah, it doesn't say. So does it have finished measurements? Nancy says she made the smallest one. She doesn't have the pattern in front of her. She forgets how it was sized. Do you remember, Nancy, if you picked a different size? You know what? Let me look at it. I don't know what I have in here. It looks like 0 ease, finished equals sizing. Oh yeah, you need some ease in there. Nancy says she had to cut it out on the shortened line so to keep the vent in the back. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. All right, okay, I have this. Sorry, you probably can't see that. Sorry, it's blowing out your eyeballs, guys. Let me see here. So I don't get the pattern envelope when I get this. Wow, they want 20 to 60% stretch is not light stretch. That's quite stretchy. That's very stretchy. But Nancy didn't make hers with stretch fabric. Size chart. I'm looking for, I don't have the finished, oh wait, these are the finished measurements. Okay. They're 34 and a quarter, 3/4. Let me see here. So let's look at the size European 40. Bust says 36 and a quarter. Yeah, so there's no, you're right, there's no, yeah, I would definitely go up a size. I would, but I think it's possible, like, I didn't know that pattern was stretchy, and look what they sent me. This is what they sent me. Not stretchy at all, by the way. So thanks for giving me a warning. You could go 2 sizes up. Like I said, the difference between the sizes, like if you read the bust on 1, on the 8, and then you read the bust on the 10 or whatever, however it says. Yeah, Nancy, but it says it takes stretch fabric. So, well, I'm going to start sewing this shirt, Miriam. Are you going to link it here? I think you can link it in there. Yeah, Nancy, she's saying that the Kalo takes 20 to 60% stretch fabric, or takes stretch, and I just read it, and it does say that. It was, but Nancy's saying it was originally designed for woven fabric. The mysteries. Have you looked at the hashtag, Miriam? Look at the hashtag, see what people have made, see if anyone's talked about it with the sizing and the stretch thing. Yeah, right? It has darts. Yeah, you don't usually see darts. Kalo is closet case? They're kind of on my naughty list right now. I can't click that link here. No, she just made one. Oh, she just made one. Okay. You mean the gal on closet case? Let me see here. Whoa. What fabric is that? Let's see here. She linked it in Twitch, you guys. That's why I clicked it. She made red silk. That doesn't look like a stretch. I'm not going to read that right now, Miriam, but have you read it through? Yeah, it's named clothing, exactly. I was going to say. Have you read that through and see what she said? I take a lot of sizing hints from people who've actually made the garment because sometimes I find it more accurate. Even if the pattern company is telling you exactly what it is, sometimes because of the margin of error with user error and stuff like that, it's good to see what people are experiencing consistently, you know? So it's tied across the bust and she altered the underarms though. All right, so what about making the top 2 sizes larger and the bottom 1 size larger? Is that, am I adding too much stuff? Sorry. The other thing, Miriam, you know how you could avoid all of this? Is cut it on the bias if you have enough fabric. That's what I would do. I would cut it on the bias. The only thing I would worry about is those wrap panels might do something funny on the bias. I don't know. I have to look at them. I have to see what the seams are and where the structure is that gives it body, because that's kind of more really the most important part for me. So, all right, I'm going to start sewing this, and I'm going to switch you guys over to the iron, which I don't think I set that up, but let's see what it is. Yeah, and just watch the, Miriam, just watch the armhole depth. Don't let it get too low. You know what I mean? Because there is kind of a significant grade, armhole depth grade between sizes. It's kind of funny how that works. It's okay, Miriam. I'm here for questions. Yeah, right, Nancy? I didn't realize that either. Heart sent me non-stretch. So I wonder if that's a new thing. Maybe they were having some sizing issues. Yeah, cool. So Miriam, if you're still here and you're gonna stream, are you streaming today? Will you remind me will you walk me through rating you? Because I keep noticing you're streaming, like a couple times I notice you're streaming after when I'm done, and I just forget and I don't know how to do it, and I really want to try it out. So okay, I'm gonna switch you guys over to my iron. Okay. I'm gonna start with the pocket first. I always try and start with all the little pieces, you know. No, patterns with knits don't usually have darts. Yeah. But they can. It's just one more plate. Like if you're doing a stretch woven, I feel like that would be better for that dress, is a stretch woven, not a knit. You guys know what I mean? You know, like how your jeans can be stretchy. That's a stretch woven. That's not a knit. Because what they do is they weave an elastic thread, you know, into the fabric so that it's stretchy. Okay, a couple things. Video practice and raid and hubs. Okay. Let's try and do that. Alright, so let's actually, you know what? Let's try, I think her method here is that you turn back the top. I read through the directions because I'm trying to do this the way it's intended, so that if you guys are following along. How's the lighting and stuff, guys? Is it okay? I know it's kind of dark. Sorry about that. Hi, Malin. Okay, perfect, Miriam. I'm gonna try and remember. It seems really straightforward, and then when I go, I can't see it. That's why. But also, I've ended my stream by then. So, why should I be able to see it? You know? I can't rate anybody. How's it going, Malin? I just now started. All right, so I'm gonna hem the top here. I could use more light, honestly. I even have the overhead light on today, the box light. Okay. Look at that. That's kind of cute. All right, let's put this on our top here. Let's do it upside down. And I know where my pins went into the fabric is the hole. So is the mark, is the like spot where I want it to be. I'm just gonna put in a couple of pins here. Just kind of in the middle. I think I'm gonna do my triangle. I like the triangle. I like the way it looks. So I start below. Ooh, I went almost a little too far there. I start the hem, go up at an angle like this, across, and then down. That's why I start down there so that I can just keep going. Oh, this is angled. Okay, this is angled. I probably should have ironed that so that I know for sure it's going to be symmetrical. Ooh, this dark fabric is no joke, dude. All right. I'm going to fold this side down first. I feel like I get the best chance of making the other side look the same if I do it in the same order. Ooh, I hope this is the same. Is that, like, what is this? Go away. I'm gonna pull this out a little bit so it's nice and straight. The back stitch here kind of pushes it out, so I'm gonna kind of try and tuck it in there a little bit so that it looks straighter. And then I'm gonna go across the top, 1, 2, 3 stitches, because that was what I did on the other side. And back down to the hem. And there's our pocket. Hi Ray, how's it going? I'm glad, you know, it's not too dark. Look at that, you can barely see that thing. Let's get rid of I can barely see my thread. Dang it, I think, I'm kind of surprised this looks as good as it does. Like, I don't think that should have worked out so well. Okay, so, let's see, it's left over right. No, it's right over left. So I think this one has this pleat. So I'm gonna iron my fronts now because we're gonna do the plackets now too. I like how much bluer it looks with this camera, doesn't it? It's kind of funny. It's upside down to me, so it's kind of hard to see. Hi Leia, how's it going? All right, so this has a tricky, this is the side, here, I'll do this one because this is the one that's first in the instructions. This is the one that goes under the placket. So basically you're kind of, think of it as like hemming. Right. Yeah. I'm good. I'm happy to be back. I feel like I went through a little bit of withdrawal. This is just really all I want to do. I just want to like hang out and sew with friends, you know? All right, so I'm just following the notches and sewing. I'm going to double check that I'm doing this the way the instructions says, because there's lots of ways to sew a placket. And I am not exaggerating when I say that, especially menswear. This one's a little different. So let's see, you iron this one. Plackets you really want to make sure are straight. It's good to have a ruler. Just making sure that is it. All right, so and I think, let's see, then I think you do it again. But you see how this doesn't line up here? There's a reason for that. No, right over left for men. No, I'm sorry, left over right. Malin, don't, yeah. Yeah, because women are always right. That's why it's right over left. And then men, it's left over right. My husband's left-handed, I should remember that. I'll just say it in my head, because men are left-handed. It's not, like I know that, it's just like when I have to say it, I doubt it. And then I'm like, wait, I said that wrong. I said that wrong 3 times already. All right. Okay, let me look at the directions, just in case you intrepid Fairfield Button-Up sewers. Men are left alone about their class. Yeah, I like that, Miriam. Miriam says, well, you said mean, which is even funny. Men are left alone about their clothing choices. Okay, so look at all the holes I had to put in this. Can you see that? Oh, sorry, it's too bright. My stapler is just not okay. So, yeah, you're gonna fold along both of those. Just making sure. I don't want to steer you guys awry. Yeah, so you stitch that down. Right. The right front. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the right front was this one. Sewed it twice, or I folded it twice. This is the side that lines up right here. And you just stitch it down. Try not to get any torquing. You don't want any torquing, right? I find it's easier to get no torquing. Definitely ironing helps, obviously. But I also like to kind of pull on this edge, keep tension on this edge right here. Because I know that the torquing is going to happen there. Like that's the counter to the torquing. And I definitely don't want any torquing on a placket. I also almost forgot my interfacing. All right, so there's my underside. Yeah, your chat to speech is hilarious, Nancy. She said needle shrimp box instead of needle sharp box. All right, this side goes under here, right? Yeah. So with all these interfacing pieces in this pattern, this particular pattern, she designs them so that they're slightly smaller than the piece that they sew to, which is great. And you're going to center them all except for this one. This one, you're just going to line it up with the neck edge. I'm going to re-iron this now. I almost forgot to put it in. So if you're making a men's dress shirt, like something a little more formal, you're going to want to add the extra interfacing to both sides. You're going to add it to all your collar pieces. I'm making something a lot more casual. So I'm only going to put it in the like standard places, like one of the I'm going to put it in the top collar, one in the stand, and then one on the right front. Left front. This is my left hand, left front. All right, let me iron this one really quick, and then we'll do this really cool, hi world peas. We'll do this really cool like pleat trick that you do on a men's placket and on women's plackets too. Just a second. All right. We already ironed this, so we're just gonna now line up the interfacing. See, it's a little shorter down there. This is a lot of interfacing, honestly. I'm gonna cut this in half. I don't like things too stiff. The fabric that I'm using in this shirt is not very lightweight. So I'm just going to cut this in half. Plus, you know, using a fabric is definitely, there's a chance of it being a little bit heavier than regular interfacing, depending on what you would have picked. Some interfacings are lighter weight. Okay. I'm gonna butt that up to that fold edge there. Get that all in there. I really want it in all the way, that side of the fold line, so that I'm not folding it, folding the interfacing. That happens a lot to me. Okay. Oh, that lighting's kind of bad on the iron, isn't it? Sorry. Okay, so on this one, there is a notch right here. Yeah, that one. So you're going to sew that. It's going to fold across like this. And then you're going to sew a 1/4 inch in there. Let me make sure I have this all lined up, though. It feels funny right here. I remember spending a lot of time on plackets when I was in college. They were really confusing to me, you know? I don't know why. There was some really tricky plackets they used to do. It was like this mystery folding pleating thing. And I was always like, what? I missed it. I missed one fold. Wait, do it again, you know? But you would do this like, and then that would be the men's placket. You didn't interface it. Interfacing, you guys, is kind of a relatively new invention. It's not always been around. Like, I feel like that came about in the 80s or 90s. Isn't that crazy? She says this is a 1/4 inch, but that's bigger than a 1/4 inch. Let me see if I should just stitch it at a 1/4 inch and ignore the notch. Let's see here. Yes, it's 1/4 inch. So we're gonna go with 1/4 inch. Okay. All right. So now remember, this doesn't line up. That's supposed to be like that, just like that. I'm kind of pushing this edge here so I don't get any of the infamous torquing that I really don't like. Remember, your presser foot is pushing the fabric towards you. Your feed dogs are pulling. It's really easy to get torquing, especially when you have a little bit of thickness. The torquing happens when it just gets misaligned, and then you get diagonal lines. You know, we all know what those look like, right? We don't like that. Okay, there's no need to backstitch. All right, so now we have this nice little pleat detail. It gets pressed like this. And then we're gonna do the same thing on this side, a 1/4 inch top stitch. Super easy, looks really nice. I think that this is considered a, this is not a criticism. This is just what they call it in the industry. I think this is called a budget placket, because when you do the non-budget style, there's a lot more folding and pleating going on. And it also wouldn't have this tendency to lift up like this. See, look at that. So now you have this little pleat here. Clean finished on the other side. Looks really nice. And that'll go over the other side, okay? So we'll press that in a second. What's next? Should we do our yoke? Let's do our yoke. I'm kind of excited about the yoke. So I'm going to do a little like loop in the back. Do you guys know where that loop goes? Yeah, Miriam, it's his birthday. This is for my husband. His birthday's next week. I haven't made him anything in so long. Well, I made him Thread Theory Jutland pants this year. Sorry, guys. They're so bright. So this is next week. When's his? That's hilarious. Our husbands might have the same. July. Mine's the 31st. So your husband's birthday. Hi, Kara. Your husband's birthday is on Neville Longbottom's birthday. Mine's on Harry Potter's and J.K. Rowling's. Because I equate everything to the Harry Potter world, you know. At least that's what everyone thinks. So I have to kind of, you know, keep up the myth. And you know, if you read all of the lore and all of the stuff about Harry Potter, and he's left-handed too, hilarious. Those Leos, man, they love to be told how special they are. This is gonna go, I think I'm gonna put it on the inside, honestly. I'm gonna put it on the inside. I'll tell you why. It's because I'm gonna put my tag in there. And I don't want this to be scratchy, so I was thinking if it had a button loop around it, it might give some cushion. All right, so where's my, here it is. Here's my loop turner. So in the Harry Potter world, Lord Voldemort really was afraid of Harry Potter because there was a prophecy that said that a boy born on that date would take out the Dark Lord. But, or towards the end of July, but it could have been Neville. So the thing was, he decided, yeah, the chosen one could have been Neville. But the thing is, if you look at what happens in the books, Neville takes out the last Horcrux, and he is the reason Lord Voldemort goes down. Harry just happens to be battling him at the same moment. Neville's pretty important. It's pretty cool. The Dark Lord underestimates him. Yeah. All right. So I just cut a piece of bias fabric. Your puppy turns 8 on Wednesday. See what a good day that is. That's awesome. All right, so this is my little loop. I'm just gonna press. I'm gonna reach over and press this really quick. Just gonna reach over. All right, sorry, I keep getting shots of my dress that's a muslin. It's really old. Okay, so that's plenty long, obviously. So let's do our yoke because I'm gonna put a little bit of contrast on the inside. My husband likes details like that. Let's put this aside. So you guys, I had a lot of time last week to work on those home sew patterns I'm working on, and I made a lot of headway, which was really awesome because it was starting to stress me out a little bit. But I thought I was using high-res pictures, and they're not. And so I have to reshoot all of them. It's like 300 pictures at least. Really annoying. I totally thought I was using high-resolution pictures. This box plate. What? Is it really this small? Outer pleats towards the inner pleat. You play Wizards Unite, Malin? Hi, Rachel. We should be friends. I do too. So does Brooke. So does Kirby. Oh, wait. Is this the wrong? Wait, am I going the wrong way? Oh, I am going the wrong way. Okay. I thought I was on this one right here. So there's little tiny notches. Can you see that? She tells you how to sew this as if you're sewing it from the inside. That's why it says put the outer towards the inner. You can choose to do a inverted pleat, but we all talked about this last time. I remember because what's his name? Creative Dad was here, and he was saying that he thought, yeah, box pleats were more typical on menswear, and I think so too. I just feel like this is really shallow. All right, what's the seam allowance on this pattern, you guys? Time to know what the seam allowance is. I really wish it was stated on every page. Oh my gosh, what's the seam allowance? What page do I have to go to? Here we go. Oh, 3/8. Okay. All right, so I am going to clean finish my yoke without having to hand sew or anything like that. I don't use the burrito method, you guys. I don't know how to do it. I do a totally different way that I figured out on my own a long time ago, and it's just more intuitive for me. So sorry I don't do the burrito method, but I like my way. It works pretty good. So I'm gonna sew this right sides together on the outside and the lining right side to the wrong side on the inside. Seam allowance is 3/8. It's very narrow for wovens, but it works great. I mean, that's completely sufficient. It's just not typical, but it's better than 5/8. I'm not a big fan of 5/8. All right, so this is the true test. Did I do the right pleat amount on my box pleat? And it looks like I did. I kind of wanted it to be a little bigger. So there's a variation for this shirt. You can add darts and make like a slim fit. You can make it kind of classy that way. My guy is a pretty slender dude, but there are, so he's in the average size section, but there is a, I don't know what the other size section is called, but there is one for larger guys. So there is a lot of variability with this pattern. So that's good. And I like her patterns a lot. I really like that she makes men's patterns, which is great. And they're very, you know, they're not just the typical ones. She has some nice variations that, you know, makes them different. Awesome, Malin. All right, so this is our yoke right there. And so this is how I do my shoulders. I'm laughing just because I don't know why I don't understand the burrito method, but I don't do it. So I'll just do one at a time. So you just lay it right sides together like this. And then all I do is the yoke's laying in there as if it's going to be finished, right? So then I just make it so that it's right sides together. I just turn it right here at the neckline. You can do it at the shoulder or the neckline. That's cool. They put on a Harry Potter movie every week. All right, so when you start, it's a little awkward like this. So I just get it under the needle. Don't lose track of which is the seam I want. I get it going, and then I start straightening it out as I go, like this, just a little bit. It's just awkward for a little while. It's not too bad. It's probably like a mini burrito. We'll call it an egg roll method. I just made that up. I had salad rolls at this Thai restaurant last night. They were so good. When you find good salad rolls, they're just so amazing, you know? I'm just keeping all my edges lined up. I'm just making sure one edge keeps poking out. Maintain your 3/8 inch seam allowance. It's really important to keep your seam allowances, especially when you have something to sew coming up like the collar. With mango, yeah, right. Hi, Eliza. How's it going? Thank you. Yeah, I feel fine. I just, you know, choke on air occasionally, apparently. We've got them on Blu-ray. I know, me too. All right, so then it just pops out and it's clean finish, done, right? All right, so I'll do it one more time. So I'm being really like overly instructive because I feel like I used to get a little confused when I would do this, and I'd get in there and then I'd start going this way, you know. A salad roll, it's usually has mint, coriander, those clear like glass noodles, I think that's what they're called. Sometimes it has shrimp. We didn't get it with shrimp. A peanut sauce, and it's wrapped in this like clear, is it a rice wrap? I think it's a rice, cucumber carrot. Yeah, and cucumber carrot. Miriam's helping me out here. It's Thai. I don't know how Thai it is. Like maybe it's an American variation. I don't know, but it's very common in Thai restaurants. It's really good. It's refreshing. Yeah, it's a rice paper wrapper. Okay, good. I had that right. Yeah, so it's a rice paper wrapper. They're soft and kind of sticky. You do see them deep fried as well, but I like them when they're not. They're good deep fried, like a version of that deep fried, kind of like egg rolls. But I really like it when because they come with the peanut sauce. They sometimes have tofu in them, but I just like them simple like this. I love mint and I love coriander a lot. Oh, here. Sorry, I was just starting to do this. Sorry, guys. Okay, so here we go. So I put it right sides together. Because this is the outer of your garment. You know how that goes, right? This is the way it's already that's how it's gonna be when you're wearing it, right? So then you just take this and put this right sides together to sew it. This time I'm starting at the shoulder. And I'm just reminding myself I'm going along this edge. Don't get turned around in there because it's so small, like the amount you can actually turn it. It can be a little confusing. You end up going the wrong direction. I would second guess myself so much doing this. I would unfold it, refold it, unfold it, refold it. Oh, yeah. I've seen them called summer rolls too, Malin. And I've seen them called spring rolls. They're more often called spring rolls, and that's not a spring roll. I don't know my Thai food very well, but I know enough to know that. Because I've seen it not be that so many times on the menu that I'm like, okay, this must not be the real name for it. You know, we just call it that by accident, and they've gone along with it. You know, people who make Thai food. So, all right, so there we go. Here we have it. And then I was gonna put this right here, like this, something like that, with my label in the middle, kind of like that. So I'm gonna press these and then we'll top stitch them. Oh really, Malin? I really should try the burrito method so I know how to do it, so if people want to know how to do it, I can do it for them. I'm sure it's no big deal. I think that I want to say Seamwork magazine just did a video. No, they did one on sleeveless armholes, which is kind of interesting too. Trader Joe's sells those? Of course they do, right? All right, let me switch to the iron. I'm gonna press this one more time. I might even top stitch it down, make it as flat as possible. I just put a wrinkle on it, dang it. I'm kind of suspicious. Let's look on the inside here. Oh, it looks okay. Okay, cool. Let's press our placket while we're here, since we haven't pressed it after sewing it. Oh, green line has a tutorial on it. Awesome. Oh, show his boss, exactly. So the neck gets stretched out in the burrito method. Does that mean you're pulling it through the neck at the end, right through here? Is that why? All right, to top stitch or not to top stitch. Okay, so typically you do see top stitching here. I'm going to add it because I feel like it gives a more polished look. You don't have to. It's not going anywhere. It's purely aesthetic. But this is all secured, right? So it's not going, nothing's creeping out anywhere. So, you know, I'm going to do it. The only thing I don't like about this is that it's going to put a blue bobbin on my white yoke. If I really don't like it, I can switch to a white bobbin. Well, let's just do that. We never do that, right? Let's switch to a white bobbin and let's see how it goes. Because I run the risk of the white threads showing on the outside, popping up through the holes. So let's try it out. All right. What I think is going to happen is I'm going to have blue threads showing on the underside a little bit. You roll everything into the, okay. I think I know how that works then. Okay. I doubt I'm the only one who does it the way I do it, but no one taught me how to do this. So when I was first getting really into sewing in my early 20s, and it's like you start going like, I want to make that, it's like you kind of get that kind of eyes bigger than your stomach, and so I really got into shirts, like button-down shirts, and I didn't like how you had to finish the shoulder because then you would hand sew it. There was no Burrito Method. That wasn't, I don't know who came about with that. There was also definitely, when I was learning to sew and coming up through sewing, there was definitely a huge vibe in the home sewing world that it needed to look perfect on the inside and the outside of the garment. Otherwise, it wasn't good enough. Hi, Terry. Oh, I'll tell you about the fabric in a second, Eliza. And that was a really controversial thing then. People talk about it, but the people that were better sewists were there was a much larger contingent of them that really felt like it had to look almost couture. And I liked my things to look good, and I remember even saying it, oh, it should look as good on the inside as it does on the outside. And then I started going, why? And like sewing, ready-to-wear sewing didn't look as cheap as it does now. It didn't look as cheap then. Sergers weren't even that common. You were starting to see them in ready-to-wear stuff, but there wasn't even, like, sergers have not been around that long, and they were mostly designed for knits, right? And even knits, like wearing a t-shirt wasn't even that common. Like it was becoming common in the 80s. And that's when I was learning how to sew, right? In the 80s and 90s. And so there was a lot of that push for making things look really polished, but I hated hand sewing then. I still don't really like it. And I wasn't very good at it. And I actually honestly thought, well, if I can machine sew it, why should I hand sew it? And so I figured this out. I was like, it's a short distance. I must be able to do this. Why can't I do what I'm doing here? And then it worked. And that's what I've been doing it ever since. All right, let's try this. I'll stop talking. And now it's cool, right? Now it's cool to be like, hey, Let's try and make this as easily as possible. All right, that looks good. Well, yeah, look at that. It looks pretty good. If you look really closely, I have autofocus off. Sorry. You can see there's some little dots of blue, barely visible. Cool. I'm glad I switched the bobbin. You know, and it's interesting. I feel like when knitting became really popular, you know, there's always been a lot of knitters. Always been a lot of knitters. But I feel like in the last like 10 years, it's really gotten some, 10 or 15 years, it's gotten some really great traction, right? And it's become more popular. And when it was first starting to really get the ball rolling, I started hearing a lot of that kind of similar vibe to when I was learning to sew. It was like, oh, your knitting should look better than purchased, you know? It's whatever you want. You know, you can do whatever you want. It's your project. A lot of purchased knits don't look that great anyway. All right. Well, that was fun. Now I just want a top stitch. Let's get rid of my white bobbin before I am pulling out stitching, because I usually do, right? Okay, so Eliza, the fabric is by, it's Japanese. What was it called, you guys? It was printed on the selvage. So this is actually, I thought this was a yarn dye. I thought this was a Robert Kaufman yarn dye. These are all printed on there. Look at the back. When I didn't even notice this when I was buying it, and then when I went to pull it out of the washing, or put it in the washing machine, I was like, wait a minute, this is printed? So yeah, I was hoodwinked. Pretty funny. All right, so now we have our garment prepped. So I'm gonna put the little majiggy right here now because I don't wanna forget it. I haven't had labels in so long that I don't wanna forget. I'm gonna attach that there. And now I'm gonna try and do this. Like this. All right, we'll just start with one side. I'm just gonna frame it. I'm gonna frame it perfectly. That way I feel like this will be softer. I don't want them to be like, boy, this tag really hurts. But it's a picture of my wife, so I can't take it out. Like, you could totally take it out, I wouldn't care. There we go. Oh, I flipped it the wrong way. You know what? I'm going to leave it. Do you see that? Look, I went this way, and then I went this way, and I should have gone under. Well, let me fix it. Let me see if I have the right amount of binding. That's hilarious. Like this, and then like this. Why doesn't it want to fold right there? It definitely doesn't want to lay as flat. I ironed it so that the seam is on the edge. Yes, that's a picture of me. That's my labels. I got my labels back. Oh, it's so bright. Sorry, guys. Let's see if you can see them. Can you see them? It's so bright. I'll try and lessen the brightness. Let's see if I can. Move this over here so I can actually see. Can you see that? They're funny, aren't they? So I get the weekly newsletter from the Fold Line. Have you guys heard of the Fold Line? I'm sure you guys have. We've talked about them. And so they do like a little weekly, this week in patterns type of thing. And I was just about to order labels through my old vendor for chicken boots. Yeah, they turned out really cute. And so they look a little bit like a clown in my opinion, but everyone assures me they're fine. So anyway, they had a coupon in there for a discount for using quality woven labels. That's the name. They're on Instagram. And they really were really affordable. And I only had to get like 100, you know. Because I go through a lot, but I don't want 8 labels. You know, like a lot of the ones you see for sale, there's 8. I would go through those in a couple weeks. So I just wanted to make sure I had enough. And they're woven, so it's nice. Anyway, you can get all kinds of stuff. That's some really cool stuff. All right, where are we at? We to the collar now? Bring it. Let's do it. We like the collar. Let me get a drink of water here. Rachel. I didn't buy these just for his shirt, though. I got them just for in general. I didn't even know I was making this shirt at the time. Okay, so, this is the... I'm just checking I had these pins so that I would remember, and then I just blindly unpinned them. Right. So for your interfacing, you're going to center it. It's a little smaller. See, it's a little smaller everywhere. So. And then you're going to sew it right sides together. You can see, that this collar is shorter right there? That's what you want. You want your under collar to be shorter. I'm going to double check that this is 1/4 seams, since if she used 3/8 on the body, she could do 3/8 on the collar too. Grain Line does for theirs. Oh, the Burrito Method's in here. There you go. You don't need to consult another company. You can just look at her instructions. She's got it built right in there for the Burrito Method. I'm sorry I didn't notice that before. And then there's pages and pages on putting your shirt sleeve plackets in. Okay, 1/4 seams. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to do the collar right sides together. My interfacing is obviously not fusible, so I'm just going to lay it in there and go for it. I'm not going to pre-stitch it, and I'll tell you, you can if you want. But you do run the risk of, if you pre-stitch your interfacing in there and you go a little bit outside the seam allowance line, that your basting will show on the outside of the garment. I'm keeping up all my edges lined up. You know, and bye Ida. By habit, I am lining up even my interfacing to the edge there, because that's typically what I do with my interfacing. So sorry about that. She usually has you center it. If it would be fusible, you wouldn't be worried about this part. All right, so I got my 1/4 seam around it. I'm gonna clip my corners. And then turn it right side out. And I put the interfacing to the wrong piece. I knew I was doing that just now too. That's so funny. It should be on your top collar. And I'm gonna take it out because that's how you know what? Actually, what I'll do, I'm gonna add it. I have one right here. Let's see, is it gonna make it too thick? Maybe I'll make it too thick. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm gonna take it apart. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you why. So when you flip your collar right side out, okay, this is absolutely the top collar. This is the under collar. I really can't flip it. It'll just not look as good. And I can't use it like this because I don't want to use it like this because it's obviously, it's like a gift. Oh, see you, Nancy. It's a gift and I want to do a nice job, but it's because, see, here's my raw edges right here, and there's my interfacing. If this was a top collar, you're going to see a ridge right here where the raw edges are through that top layer. I don't want that, so let's take it out. So there's certain things I don't skip past. So it's not much stitching. I haven't done the under stitching, thankfully. We'll just take it out. Best to do it with a better effect, especially in a place like the collar. And also because, you know, this is my last tricky step of this whole shirt. So why not do it right, you know? Like, I don't have a lot of sleeve construction coming up. You know, if this is the only seam I have to take out, why not? It's probably because Nancy's leaving the stream that I have to seam rip this. So let's see. I'm going to go away for the weekend. Spontaneously. We're going to go for the way for the weekend. I'll be back next week. And so next week, today is my 98th stream. Not 98th stream, 98th video that'll be uploaded because there's a few how-tos. And next week, I have a bunch of hearts projects I can do, and I have a few needle sharp projects. And it'll be my 100th stream. So what I'm thinking I'd like to do is the uniform tunic for my 100th stream. My 100th video. And then I might even squeeze in a noodle head making backpack. I know I've already made that for you guys before, but I have one cut out for my nephew, and it's Harry Potter fabrics, and I thought it'd be really fun to do it on Harry Potter's birthday. So if you've been interested in making that backpack, you know, back to school is coming, so it would be a good time. You could see make it, and then you can make one yourself if you like. It's a really fun backpack to make. So what do you guys think of that? So I'm thinking I might do the backpack on Wednesday, and then dang, I really want to do a muslin of that uniform tunic first though. So we could do a sewing a muslin stream on Wednesday. Okay, let's do that. This is what I'm gonna do. I don't even know if any of you were here, but I'm gonna cut out a uniform tunic off camera, just in muslin, or a muslin style fabric, like a fabric I don't really care about. And then I'm gonna sew it with you guys on Wednesday as a muslin. I'm gonna show you how I would sew a muslin together. And then I'll have my fit sample. And then we'll cut it on Thursday, I think, and sew it on Saturday. So that's my plan. That's what I think I'm gonna do. Because I know we really want to do a muslin stream, and I would like to make a muslin of that garment. All right, so let's flip this over like this. Okay, so same pieces, different sewing. This is the top collar. I'm gonna sew it from this side this time. Okay, cool. That sound good, you guys? Laundry calling. See you, Eliza. Thanks. Yeah, I think my allergies might be better if we go away too. I'm hoping. All right, get that in there. Your interfacing honestly doesn't really need to be that much smaller than your than your garment or your pattern piece, but your undercollar should be smaller. I'm gonna do the variation, Rachel, with some short sleeves that I saw that she did, and I'm gonna do a dress version. I'm gonna do a few things. It also has pockets, hidden pockets. That's the horizontal seam. I'm hoping it's not just like the willow tank. I think the willow tank could be a little more flattering on me, but I have some ideas for that too. I already trimmed this corner, so I have to get right up to that edge there. It's kind of a bummer. You see this little slack? That's because that's the top color. I'm still lining up all my edges. I actually could get this one closer. I'm gonna get rid of this original stitching here that you probably cannot even see, but I really want to get into that corner. I want my collar to be symmetrical. That's important. And it's easy, like when you've already trimmed that little corner, to not go up to where you should be sewing again because you're scared of that trimmed corner. But we're gonna top stitch this. Yeah, right, Rachel? That's what I'm thinking too. I'm hoping it works for me. Okay. Let's make sure I get this corner here. Let's compare. I'm gonna compare my corners there. I wanna make sure my collar is the same length left to right. Might as well do it now. You know? All right, so let's trim this a little bit. Fresh trim. Be really careful turning your corners, especially on a fabric like this. You can see it's kind of got that open weave. It will want to poke through. Oh, cool. The heck? Where'd my awl go? I never put it there. That's funny. So I'm kind of being careful turning those points right there because I don't want to poke out any raw edge. It's pretty easy to do on these open weaves. All right, so now we have our interfacing on the top color. And then that will give us kind of a nice smoother finish over the raw edges. So let's iron that. Let's iron that. Okay. My iron's not quite hot. So I think what I'm gonna do is press this seam towards, just to get it nice and flat. Kind of like you do when you do a French seam, but we're not doing a French seam. Okay. All right, so this is my top collar. Now you're gonna line up this raw edge here, and it should put the seam on this side. So remember, this is the top collar, this is the under collar. So you wanna line up all this raw edge right here. You really want this seam to go towards the under collar. We could do a little better. Let's make sure we get it doing that. I don't want to distort it. Can you see that? Could you see that? So I have the seam right here. This is the under collar. So this is how you wear it, like this. Into the collar stand. All right, where's the collar stand? Here's the collar stand. So for the interfacing. Now the collar stand is flat to stand straight up, so you don't really have to worry a whole lot about it being a different size. It will be, I think on her pattern, she likes to do that. It does make it a little easier. When you're using fusible interfacing, it is nice when it is cut away from the edge, because then you don't glue your your ironing board, you know what I mean? All right, so now this is the one part that always confuses me, is you're gonna put your under collar to the outer collar stand, because this is how you'd wear the garment. So I usually start with the center of my collar, match it up the notch. And I just dropped my pin cushion, so I have to grab my pin cushion. Sorry, guys. That's one thing about a piece of cherry pie as a pin cushion, is it's very bouncy, you know? The drawbacks of having a cherry pie pin cushion. Okay, so do my center one, and then there's a notch up here at your collar stand. This is where your end of your collar goes. So I do all my anchor points. And you can see, like, this little angle, that's so that your collar rolls. So line it up. I'm glad I didn't add the extra interfacing to this collar. All right, so now right sides together. I have a little bit of, it's probably because I had to sew my top collar twice. So I lost a little bit of my seam allowance. Just gotta cheat a little bit. So when I attach my collar, I do it a little differently, the instructions. I won't do it the way she does it. There's nothing wrong with her instructions at all. I just do it a little differently because I really want to make sure it's going to work the first time and look good on the outside. So for this step right here, you're going to sew along this curved edge of your collar stand, enclosing that whole edge, 1/4 inch seam. And you really want a nice curve right here. Nice smooth curve. Let's go slowly there. I know I didn't pin this collar stand, but I don't really need to. I just needed to pin the collar to the collar stand. And I'll pull the pins out afterward. I'm just making sure that the collar stand, the top one, doesn't grow longer than the spot's going, because it doesn't have as much constraining it like the other one does. All right, so get that nice curve, nice. All right, let's get rid of these pins here. Okay. So now I'm going to look at this curve here and notch it. You don't really need to notch a lot of this, just the curve. Let me get rid of this thickness here. All right. I can kind of see my stitching better on the interfacing, so I'm just looking at the curve, making sure it looks pretty good. All right, so now I'm gonna turn this. Remember, this is my, so yeah, hopefully I did that right. This is my top collar, just like that. Okay. Okay, so there's my collar and my stand. Let's, you don't want to top stitch this right now. You need to do that once it's attached to your shirt, because you will not have the correct seam allowance if you top stitch before attaching it to your shirt. So you, in other words, if you do this edge stitch right here, you can't open this up all the way to go around the edge of your shirt placket. You know what I mean? So let's iron this real quick. You want to make sure this curve stays nice and smooth. You can trim it down a little more if that helps. Probably will, because I feel it feels a little lumpy there, and it's making that kind of get a point there. I'm kind of pulling the under collar stand and pushing with the iron for the top one. I want right on the edge, that seam right there. There's not much point to this collar, like point. There's definitely a lot of point to having a collar. So this is how it goes, like that. See? But that, there we go. This is the, there we go. It goes like this. You see the difference? So here is, well, I'll show you at the other, I'll show you at the machine. Let's see. Okay, so this is a good illustration of why having an under collar and a top collar is really important, because I think a lot of people, when they see extra pattern pieces like that, they're like, it looks exactly the same, I'll just cut 2 of 1, you know? And then it's just these subtle little things that make the sewing look nicer without any effort on your part, which is great. You just had to cut out an extra collar, or not the same as 2 collars. So this, if we were to sew this backwards with the under collar on top like this, you can see that the collar wants to flip up. It wants to pull, and it's because it's shallower. The under collar is smaller. So if you put it with the top collar on the top, like this, same thing. It wants to sit down better. It kind of curves. You can kind of see that. Hi, Julia. They really are. They, yeah. This one's pretty conservative. I mean, I don't really know my men's collars, but it's definitely not 70s. It's nice. It's very short. My husband's gonna wear this shirt like this, you know, open a little bit, right? So, okay, so the way I put this collar on, this is where I kind of differ from the instructions. Is I'm going to go from the inside to the outside like I always do for everything. I'm going to stay stitch my neckline first. I'm going to do it just inside that 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to keep the collar really loose while I do this so I don't stretch out my neck in the process. It's easy to pull on your garment a little bit on this curve, and then you just stretched it out and stay stitched it that way, you know. I'm a puller, I know. I don't think I've made my husband a shirt in a really long time. But it was the very first thing I ever gave him as a birthday gift, was a homemade shirt. I think he still has it. Okay, so don't get confused with your collar. Pin it as if it's being worn so you don't get confused. So this is the top collar right here. So when you're looking at the garment, the top collar is shown with the inside of the shirt, because remember, it's going to go like this, right? It's going to fold and do this, okay? So I'm going to put the inside collar stand to the inside of the garment. Hi. And I'm going to do all my anchor points. So I kind of open up my collar stand like this. I like to pin the seam allowance on the inside of the stand down to the neckline, like this. I found it kind of helps with the sewing of it, and it helps with the stabilizing of it. Oh, dang. Is this really going to fit? Wait a minute. The heck? All right, so see, I'm lining up the collar stand with the placket there, but I'm holding the seam allowance down. Is this gonna make it? Can I do that? I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Whew, this is a tight fit. I'm gonna look at the directions, make sure I'm not missing something. I kind of just found the in-between point for this shoulder as my anchor. Now, you see, like, it does look like it's going to be too big, but at the same time, like, when you get this lined up, it looks okay, you know? If you paid attention to your seam allowances and not stretch out the neck. So, you guys, if you do that burrito method, it sounds like it can stretch out the neck, so be really careful when you're doing it. This is going to be fine. It's going to sew in there just fine. Okay, so this is, okay, I'm gonna unpin all this because I'm actually gonna pin all of it because I actually want to see how much different one front is to the other, because they probably are different because the placket's different. You never know. Ah, it's not much. Maybe a 1/4 inch. Okay, cool. So let's make sure we have our right collar. Okay, it's like this, okay. Let's pin just the fronts again. I line up the edge of the collar like that. I'm not an expert in this, but I've definitely found little things that make it a little easier, because you kind of, that's a focal point, you know, in the collar right there. It's like something you really look at. And if you don't, once you sew a shirt, you're going to start looking at that. So maybe it's a focal point for a sewist. But, you know, with guys who wear dress shirts, they really do talk a lot about, when they're talking about clothes, they talk about how the collar is and the neck and all that. All right, sorry, I'm doing that probably off camera, huh? I know how to practice. All right, so I'm lining up that edge right there. Open up the collar stand, kind of keep it relaxed, and then I'm holding the seam allowance like that, and then I open it up and I pin it down like that. Just little subtle things like that. Okay. So now I think that the center notch could go a little bit to the right of it. I'm not sure. I'm going to check before I pin it all down. But just in case I'm not using the same collar stand, but I'm pretty sure that collar stand is notched in the middle. Definitely want the stay stitch on that neckline, otherwise this would be really hard. to get all this in here. I wish all my little pins weren't pushed down into my cherry pie, but it's probably because it fell on the ground. Oh, you see all that? What the heck, man? I did the 3/8 inch seams. This is a lot. This is a lot to ease in here. I'm gonna look at the directions though. Make sure. I don't really want to ease into my neck. Let's see. I don't check, you know, do you guys check errata on patterns? Not that this is wrong or anything. I'm just curious. I saw it the other day when I was looking at patterns. I saw listed right under the pattern for sale errata, and I thought that's a really, or errata, I don't know how you say that word. That's a really good place to put it, because I think once you buy a pattern, like if you bought a printed pattern from your local fabric store, who knows when they bought that, right? They could have bought that in the first printing. And it's not like the fabric store is like, oh, hey, guess what? There's some errata on this. Make sure you check online, right? So it's up to you to remember to do that. I've never done that. Have you guys ever done that? I've never checked. Like, I don't even think about it. But if it's a pattern I've downloaded, I'm going to be expect to get like an update. You know, I'm going to expect to get like someone emailing me going, oh, hey, we had found a little issue. Here's the updated version. Replace your old one. And I would delete it and replace it. I would be good about that. Like, I'm really good about stuff like that, because I don't want to not. You sometimes look at pattern review. Does pattern review have things like that, Julia? That's awesome. You always assume it's you. I kind of do too. I always assume it's me too. This is quite a bit of easing. So, okay, I've got a lot of pins in there. You can kind of see that it's curved. So let's look. It may be like this on purpose. And that's always good to know, because then you're like, oh, okay, this is okay. And I'm looking at the pictures, not reading a whole lot. So let me just look at this real quick. And see, she wants you to stay stitch the neckline and then clip it. And if I would have clipped it, the neckline would be a little bit more relaxed. So I'm not going to clip it quite yet. I'll clip it once I sew it. Baste the center notches. All right, it doesn't say anything that it should be tricky. I've never made this one before, right? All right, so this is my section that feels bigger, but I really want to sew on top with the collar stand. So I'm going to start there, and I'm just going to be really careful. I'm not going to pin anymore. Sometimes pinning is just not going to help me. I just need to start sewing, because more pins hinder what you can ease. Yeah, I always check with knitting patterns too, Kara. Exactly. Yeah, and I really like seeing when someone, oh, I see what you're saying, on pattern review, that's what they say. Yeah, that's what I do with hashtags. Most of the things I sew on here, I look at hashtags, but that's even smarter. I should be looking at pattern review. All right, so I'm going to start this. I kind of push the collar over there so it's nice and loose while I get that seam started, and then I'm going to smooth it out. It's like I keep this slack and kind of keep it opened up like this. The seam right here, the seam of the collar stand. And then I now will flatten it all out. So I'm going to check underneath. But if I would have added more pins, it would have made it so that I could only ease between the pins that I had. The vertical bust seam on the tea house dress. The vertical bust seam. You mean where the yoke is? That thing, they have a lot of instructions on stay stitching that. And it's... and you actually stay stitch and pull up the threads on that one. You ease it. You do ease it. Like they stated, you're going to ease this. Okay. Still working. So if I get this in and I have some tucks, it's easier to just pull, like fix between, like an inch of sewing rather than the whole neckline. So, right? Just try and maintain your seam allowance though. Because remember, you still need to finish the whole collar with the other side. Right, Julia? I know. I feel like I would really like to be unrelentingly honest on here, but I think a lot of people will take it as me criticizing when I'm not. I just want people to be aware. So I'm really careful about how I state things because like I've said a few times, I have a lot of respect for pattern drafters because I am a pattern drafter, and there are a lot of different ways to draft a pattern. There's not one way. And there's also, like, it's kind of interesting to go down the journey of another pattern drafter's way. It is not to say that some pattern drafters aren't making mistakes. They do. And I see it, and I just don't say much because it still will work out. And we can call it something else, like a sizing quirk. Yeah, Julia, if you just put that yoke on without reading the instructions right there, which would be easy to do because you're like, okay, I know what to do right here, you wouldn't know that they actually have you put a stay stitch all the way around and then pull up the threads like you're easing a sleeve on. So I forgot about that until I made it recently, and I was like, oh yeah, good thing I read this. I've seen a few pattern releases lately, like new ones, and I'm glad none of you guys are requesting them. I'm not even going to bring them up because they're not well drafted patterns, and I would feel really bad not making them, but I don't want to say that they're badly drafted patterns because you know what? It doesn't matter sometimes. You know, like people like the pattern, they like the way it fits, they like the way it sews together. That's all that matters, right? But there's a couple I'm like, ooh boy, you know, like that one I couldn't do that because I could tell the fit's just really off. So, all right, so let's see how I did. You guys, it looks all good. Okay, so if you're doing that part, know it works. I wouldn't clip the neckline before you sew it. Oh, this looks kind of cute. I wouldn't clip this neckline on the body before you sew it. I always clip afterward. And interestingly enough, because this one kind of sticks up. Oh, it's okay, Julia. You don't have to apologize. You sometimes don't have to clip this seam, you know. I'm going to right now. I'm gonna kind of trim these threads here. I kind of want to look and see how it looks first. So remember, I sewed it to the inside first, and now I'm going to the outside. This is the outside of the garment, and it's because that's my last stitch to look good. Hi, Heather. How's it going? Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no worries. Come whenever you want. Welcome. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna trim this, or I'm gonna clip this now. Make sure you don't clip into your shirt. I'm just clipping the neckline a little bit. What are you making these days, Julia? Are you sewing much? I think that dress would look good on you. I'm surprised that didn't turn out the way you'd like. That's a bummer. I'm finding I'm starting to modify the tea house dress a lot because it's kind of making me crave a certain silhouette, and it kind of is a good starting point for that silhouette. So I've been like wearing it without the belt and having kind of a lot of fun with it that way. I modded the heck out of the last one. Oh, you're mowing the lawn, it's hot. Bummer. Yeah, it's been hot here. It's supposed to get 106 on Sunday. I was talking with someone last night at 11 o'clock at night, my time, and I asked him, because he's in Ohio. I was like, hey, how's the weather there? And he was like, actually, it's been perfect. It was 72 today, and it's been 58 at night. And I was like, oh, really? It's 82 right now. And it was 11 p.m. It was 82 outside. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah. Oh, cool. The Winston as a tunicked. The Winston. Wait, which one's the Winston? Oh, the Wixton. You mean the Wixton? Oh, cool. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, that's what I figured. Because the Winston is those shorts we've been talking about, right? Oh, no, that's Weston. Never mind. I think the Sew Over 50 account just did a post today on fake jumpsuits doing that exact thing. I only saw it for a second as I just went on there to like answer a question for somebody that I forgot to answer, and then I had to start the stream, like I was almost late. But I saw it and it said something about it in the title. I'm like, oh, I'll bet that's a post on like making a jumpsuit but without it being attached. You're making a suit coat? That's awesome, Terry. All right, let me press this. I'm gonna switch over here. What are you using a store-bought pattern? All right, how much do I press here? I'm not pressing this, sorry. I don't know why I was about to press that, because I'm not ready to press that. Okay, so let's sew it. Let's finish it and then we can press it maybe. Okay, so this is the outside of my garment, so I really want it to look nice, right? And but it's the last stitch that we sew, so this is, in a way, makes it easier to make it look nice, because we can see what we're doing. We don't have to worry about the inside, as opposed to doing it the other way, where you would sew this seam first, turn it to the inside, and then you'd be sewing this hoping it looked good on this side, you know? Oh, nice, Terry. That's awesome. You can do it. Just take it easy. Just, take it step by step, and, if you don't know how to do something, maybe cut out a little part, that part only, and try it first. Oh, you're going to do a muslin too. That's awesome. Oh, you did the stage address. Now you don't know what to do. So now you're like, what do I do next? Well, you can start doing some fall stuff. It's not really that around the corner for me, but I like to pretend it is. I was going to trim this a little bit more, this curve. I'm going to do it now. All right. Let's get some less white on the table there. All right, so I'm going to push all this seam allowance in. So there's lots of schools of thinking with this, because you could consider this a hidden part of the collar, since the collar folds over it, but right here it's not. Unless your collar's doing this, like when you're wearing it, right? So there's a lot of schools of thought on this. You can do it the traditional way. I just really like doing it this way. Let me trim this one. Nope, I'm not gonna trim that one. That one's okay. It sure is getting like unravelly looking, huh? All right. I want this to look nice, and that part is always a little tricky for me. I should look at some shirt making tips for that. So the one thing you want to make sure is that you're not folding this piece under more than the height of the other piece behind it, because then it'll make the other side buckle a little bit. Yeah, right, Malin? I know. You need tops for hot and humid weather that don't look like I stole my daughter's clothes. Yeah. Exactly. So you want this to still on the other side still be nice and smooth and taut, not being pulled or stretched too much, right? So I kind of do some anchor points and then I start working my way. I do the middle, see where it's landing. So now, when you think about this, yeah, I don't know Simplicity 8947 either. Oh, cool. I'm going to do the Linden sweatshirt at some point. Once my serger's back. I have all the knits planned. I have a lot of knits planned. Now remember, we've clipped the neckline, we've clipped the curve, but we didn't clip this edge right here. So if this edge is giving you a lot of trouble, remember that look at how taut it is right here. It wasn't clipped like all those other edges it's going to. So you could clip it. It just makes it a little trickier to handle. So I'm just going to barely clip it. I've actually never pre-clipped this edge. This is my first time doing it. But because the neckline was so tricky to get on, I think it's going to need it. All right. That definitely helped. So I want to cover up the original stitching, but I don't want it to hang down too low. I want all my stitching to be on the collar stand itself. Just like that. So you guys, I was out at dinner last night and this girl must have been at a table near us, and as she was leaving, she was standing there talking to her mom, and she had a tank style dress on in watermelon fabric, almost identical to the one I've made, and I was like, look, I never needed to sew mine. Is this pattern Thread Theory? Yes. This is the Fairfield Button-Up by Thread Theory Designs. Yeah, oversized sweatshirt with leggings sounds nice. I can't remember. Is the Linden grain line, you guys? It is, right? I hope so. So I'm just barely cutting into that a little bit, just to loosen it up a little bit since we had to ease that on so hard. So I'm making sure that the underside is nice and smooth. All right. Okay. This is pinning nicely. It's not too hard. It's always this part that I worry about it looking nice. I mean, let's be honest, the collar's going to cover all this other stuff, right? My twin, I know. Even my husband was like, oh my God, that really does look almost like yours. And I got my fabric from Spoonflower. I actually did it as a sprout pattern. It was a Monetta dress with a sleeveless Monetta that I did in watermelon print fabric. So Sprout printed it for me with Spoonflower a long time ago, a few years ago. All right. There's my collar stand. Making sure it's good on the inside. Okay, so I don't start and stop at the end here. I start in the middle because I don't like my start and stops being right there. It's chunky, doesn't look very nice, and then this also gives me an opportunity to kind of get the hang of sewing the collar stand as I'm going, so that by the time I get to these tricky parts, maybe I'll be doing pretty good, you know. So I'm gonna start right here, make sure everything is nice. I'm like pulling and making sure everything's nice and flat. So remember, I want to stitch on the collar as evenly as possible because we don't want it to look like this is my last seam. We don't want the edge to pick up, you know, like be able to be pulled up. We want it to, you guys can't see that, but there's my stitching right there. So I'm just pulling this edge down a little bit more. Where's my awl? There we go. Oh, nice, Terry. Hi, Lisa. I'm back. I'm only here today. I won't be here Saturday. I'm gonna go away for the weekend spontaneously. I did that on my denim jacket too, Terry. It really helps, especially with that thickness and the denim. You just don't want to mess around with that, you know? So yeah, I always do it on all my cuffs. Definitely my shirt collars. That way I know it's gonna look good. I can see what I'm sewing, you know? All right, here's my first trouble spot here. All right, now you really want to get a nice, like you're stitching on this curve here. Try and keep going as you go. Like don't stop, like I'm stopping. Because you'll get a nicer curve. So now the shirt's going to be under the head of my machine because I'm going to do in a continuous loop. And I'm pulling it apart so that it's all nice and flat. I really want it to be right up on top of itself, right? Okay, I can't take these pins out because they're still holding down the collar at the bottom. Okay, here we get to my front again. This one I can tell is a little more troublesome. All right, I turn the corner. Try and cover my stitches up. Phew. Okay, hope this is looking good. I'm taking the pins out because sometimes your pins will create a little point in your, when you fold it under fabric like this, and there's kind of a lot going on right here. Sometimes the pin is so accurate that what happens is the fabric before the pin kind of goes up and the pin's holding this down. So you've got this little like, I'm exaggerating, right? So what I want, I'm like sewing along here and then the pin is down, it's pulling the fabric this way. If I let go of the pin right before, it kind of relaxes it so I get a nice smoother edge there. I'm going to take that one out right now because I can tell it was buckling a little bit. I really want it to relax. Get that fabric out of there. Oops, not like that though. I feel like being left-handed would be really handy right now. Okay, here we are at the beginning. I hope it looks good. Nervous. Let's see. I keep seeing things and they're just like threads. Where'd those come from? Okay, that looks pretty good. That doesn't look really good. I could fix that right there. Of course, now I have a back stitch. Let's see the inside. There's the inside. So yeah, do I stay perfectly on the collar stand every time? No. But at the same time, no one sees the inside, right? This right here, you know, I want to make sure this looks okay. This is my most troublesome thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the stitching from here to here all the way around because I would like my back tack to be hidden under here and back here. I know, I'm funny about my back tack. I don't like it in these high visibility areas, and also that kind of thickness of the back tack can kind of skew things a little bit, you know? It kind of can be a problem. Can I see my stitches? No, I can't see my stitches. All right, let's see here. when you have a spot you need to remove, you know, when you need to seam rip, it's better to take out a little bit more than you need to. That way you can kind of blend it in with the good stuff. Kind of helps cover it up better, you know. And this is the placket that's going to go on top. So yeah, I kind of want it to look good. So after this, I just have my sleeves and my underarms and my hem. And then we're done. A little bit of long stream today, but we're going to do the whole thing. I feel like I owe it to you guys anyway. I don't have a cutting stream. I'm sorry. But I did recut it, so I am doing it exactly the way. I'm not trying to do some different method because I ended up cutting my fronts out incorrectly the first time. All right, so let's get rid of this thread. You don't want to immortalize it. Let's get rid of all of it. Okay, now we're set. See if we can get it to look a little bit nicer than it did before. It's gonna want to sew the same way it did the first time. So loosen it up a little bit. Get rid of that original sewing line. And see if we can pull this down a little bit. I'm just pulling the seam allowance down a little bit more. Okay, that looks a little more relaxed. I think that looks smoother. Let's see. So I was saying earlier, next week is my 100th upload. And it's not like it's a big, I'm doing short sleeves, but yes, it does. It has short sleeve plackets and the roll up style. The little like loop-de-doo that you can pin up your shirt sleeves with. Has both those options. It also has an option to make darts in the back, so a nice slim fit. And it has some nice sizing options too. All right, so next week, it's not like I'm celebrating and everything, but I kind of am, you know, but we were talking recently about how you guys would like a muslin stream, like how I sew a muslin and how simple you should make it. And I would really like to do the uniform tunic by Green Line Studio. So what I think I'm going to do is do a muslin. I'm going to cut one out off camera, but then sew one with you on Wednesday. That'll be my 99th stream. And then the next day we will cut and maybe start sewing the actual one and finish it on Saturday. So that's my plan. All right, so let's make this look a little nicer. I'm kind of glad I'm going to start from the collar stand this time and go around. I sew a little better coming from this seam going around rather than this seam going around. It's always like that for me. I don't know why, but I do notice it. I always am not happy with this one. I'm just now realizing that. So it was really tempting to do a Harry Potter style thing next Wednesday, you know, because it's his birthday. But I'll spare you guys. We'll do a book bag maybe for back to school. Ooh. I don't know if I made that better just now. I hope so. Keep sewing, keep sewing. See, the whole thing with industrials going too fast is definitely not always true. You can get it to really go slow. Okay, that looks a little better. The stitching on the inside looks better too, which is nice. That's good. What do you think? You can see some of my stitches right there. That looks pretty good though. This is for my husband. Yeah. Hope it fits him. Yeah, have you heard of Noodlehead? I've made her making backpack, and I have one cut out right now for my nephew. Okay, let's do our sleeves. Same for you, what, Julia? I need some water. Did I just cut myself? I have like a little piece of skin right here now. All right, so should I think I'm gonna do, okay, so she has instructions on doing flat felled seams. Should we do flat felled seams or French seams? What do you guys think? Flat felled or French? What's your vote? I can do either. I like either. So I'm going to do it with the underarm open. I know you guys like sewing them that way. It's not typically how I would do it. I'm kind of hoping that it's okay. Oh, okay, Julie, yeah. Not funny. I don't think I've ever realized that until today. Cool, yeah, we'll do a lot. We're going to do a lot of bags eventually. You guys are going to be sick of it. French? Okay. Let's see, does this sleeve need easing? No easing? Uh-oh. Flat felled, French, okay. I need more votes. I don't want Terry to get beat up here. 2 flat felled, 1 French. Do I even have enough seam allowance? Wait a minute. I can't do flat felled or French with 3/8 inch seam. But she has you do flat felled. What's the seam allowance on the sleeve? Wait a minute. I'm feeling hoodwinked right now. Sew flat felled seam when attaching the sleeve. Begin with prepping your sleeve piece. French, okay. 1, 2, 3 French, 2 flat fell. Keeping the folded seam allowance out of the way. Stitch using 3/8 and seam allowance. Each time the raw and fold edges are no longer meant to stop and just sleeve. So wait, what's the seam allowance on the sleeve? I want to know. Wait, the seam allowance are as follows. Shirt back and sleeve back, 1/4 inch. Shirt front and sleeve front, 5/8. Ooh. Okay, so this is engineered for flat fell. Flat fell, okay, now you guys are chiming in. I think I'm gonna have to do flat fell, you guys, I'm sorry. If you would like to see me do French seams on a shirt sleeve like this with the easing, I've done them a bunch. Did them on the Archer. I just did them recently. What did we do that on recently, you guys? What did we just sew? What did I just sew? The 100 acts of sewing one. What did I do? Did I do dress number 2 or tunic number 1? Yeah, the Noodlehead bag I am going to do is the making backpack. She has a ton of bags. Then change your vote, right? All right, so I just don't understand her. Like, maybe because she's really explaining the method, I'm like, wait, how do I do that? She's a 1/4 inch there. You the one who stitch using grades. This is so weird. Okay, let me look at this little diagram here. Sleeve. Shorts. What do you mean shorts? Shirt back and sleeve back, 1/4 inch. Shirt front and sleeve front, 5/8. So wait, the front of the garment has 5/8 and the back has a 1/4. What? Wait a minute. That's not right. Shoot. This is really odd. Okay. So let's see here. Is there no, okay. Flat felled. Yeah, I'll do flat felled, you guys. That's fine. I just don't understand the seam allowances. And now I'm looking for the notches on the sleeve, so. Okay, so this is the back right here. Back of the sleeve. I didn't do much of a clip because I didn't know what I would be sewing. All right. So let's see. When you do flat fell, you basically sew them wrong sides together. It's kind of similar to, yeah. I've made one before, World Peas, and I did it on stream, and you can find it on my website on soso.live. And just look for making backpack, and it's in the accessories section. I made one, it's kind of like a wine color, just so if that makes it easy to find. You can kind of see. So like that, right? And then the seam would go, so you sew it wrong sides together, you trim this underseam, and then you fold it like that. But she's saying fold this like this, so let me, I want to do it the way she does it so that if you guys don't have me and you're sewing along with this. This isn't the way I would do it. Pin the sleeve to the shirt body with right sides together. Trim the body seam allowance to 1/4 inch to reduce bulk of sew. Okay. Okay. Oh, those seam allowances I was telling you are the underarm, not the sleeve. They're the underarm. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna do this. The way I've always done it is you sew it wrong sides together. You are going to trim this one here, fold this one over like that. Like that. So if this one already was turned under and you sew this like that, and yeah, you don't need to do that. So we're just gonna sew this. I'm gonna sew this with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I hope it's enough. I'm gonna do a little bit more. I'm a little nervous about this. I'm a little nervous because I can't tell what the seam allowance actually is. Night, Malin. I know, it's kind of late. So there's no easing. I'm a little nervous about that. I'm kind of surprised. Let's see how we do here. I'm going to walk it around. Usually you want easing in a sleeve, otherwise it's not going to be very comfortable. If the sleeve isn't a little bigger than the armhole, then it's going to feel tight across the bicep. The gush. You guys always make fun of my word gush, but that's, you know, you got this gush right here, right? So if the sometimes sleeves like this are flatter and they're drop shoulder. This one isn't flat. All right, so we're doing this wrong sides together. You could do this right sides together. Good night, Malin. You could do this right sides together and do your flat fell on the inside. I am doing it this way because that's how I've always done them with like denim and things. All right, so we have our seam. It was really easy to sew in. And then you trim this one on the body. That's just not enough seam allowance. I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous. Okay, so I'm gonna really trim this. I've done this before and actually cut my garment. You guys all watched me do it. It was not pretty. I wasn't very happy. I think the way I was cutting it was, I set myself up to fail at the time. I was doing it on the free range slacks. So I'm trimming on the body right now. Not the sleeve, just one layer of the seam allowance. I'm trimming it pretty close because I know that I don't have much seam allowance to work with. So see this now? And so then this folds over like this, and then you edge stitch it. So we're gonna iron it first. I'm gonna sew one completely through because top stitching exactly, and then so we know how the other one's gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna iron this now. I'm caught on a thread. So it has a pretty wide shoulder, which looks like it could be dropped shoulder, but it still has a pretty rounded sleeve cap. A lot of men's clothes are flat filled. I don't know if I'm gonna iron this next part. I'm just gonna kind of see where it's at now. Let's see. I would like it to look nice and even. We'll iron that. It's going pretty good. Seam allowance is so small. I think it'll be better if I can do this. The sleeve wasn't hard to put in there, which makes me think that my seam allowance isn't far off if I'm off at all. So that's good. Ham! I know. I do have my ham. It's right here. That make you happier? I find it kind of hard to use. It's more of a salami. Basically, flat felled seam it's like you're hemming, right? That's the way I would look at it. You're hemming. Yeah, so you could do this on the inside of the garment as well, if you would rather. It does look a little different. Maybe on a sleeve it might be more accurate to do it that way. I actually don't know. I am not an expert on shirt making, but there are experts out there. if you guys weren't watching and I had my serger, I'd probably serge it. You know? This is very finicky right here. I might not get this area here. Oh, you guys, I saw Hearts Fabric is having a sale on knits, by the way. And it ends tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. So if anyone's looking for knits, it's like 15% off. And there's a little code in their newsletter. It might be on their website, just so you know. I'm going to pick up some knits. My fabric store has knits, but they haven't been getting any new ones lately. And I've kind of used all the ones that they have that I really like that would look good on me. That aren't like little kid knits, you know? They have some really cute little kid knits. Okay. Sewing the sleeve on with the flat felled seam, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of winging it because I'm not sure of the seam allowance right now. Or the instructions, they're not wrong, I'm not sure I'm understanding them. So I'm just going to edge stitch that little bit that I pressed under. So if you don't have a serger, flat felling and French seams are so useful and they really make things look so good. I'm a total convert. It is extra sewing, but I find the seam behaves a little better. Bye, Kara. Yeah, I think you're right, Julia. I feel like I have more control of it like this. Don't you think? I hope it looks good. Let's see. It's funny, I'm having one of those moments where I'm having trouble visualizing how it would look on the inside when that's typically, you know, a lot of flat felled seams happen on the inside of the garment. Where's my awl and why aren't I holding it? Okay. So I sewed my sleeve on wrong sides together with a slightly generous 1/2 inch seam allowance. Trimmed the body. Oh, I didn't need a back tack there. I trimmed the body pretty close, like 1/8. Oh, you guys, that looks pretty good. Right there, it looks a little good, not really good. Marcy Tilton, I haven't heard of that. Yeah, right, Terry? I know, exactly. I was talking to a friend yesterday I haven't talked to in a while. She said she's been sewing dresses this summer and that she accidentally found my French seam tutorial and so it was really helpful. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And she's become a convert too, you know? So, yeah, this is a little thicker. It's not too hard to work with though. Don't give me too much credit. Like it kind of behaves. It's just that you could tell the edge is relaxing really fast and it's becoming frayed. So it's definitely a fabric that, you know, you want to deal with sooner than later, right? I got this at my local fabric store. I really like it. It's really handsome. Oh, here it is. I was like, where'd my sleeve go? All right, let's do our other one. And then I'm going to decipher the seam allowance notes on in the pattern for the underarm so that I can maybe hopefully do it correctly. I want to make sure I'm trying to do this the way she wants it done. So again, there's no ease in this sleeve, you guys. So there's no, plus we're sewing this, we're doing it the cheater way where we don't have the underarm done first, which you guys know, I'm not a stickler about a lot of things, but I am kind of a stickler about sewing in your underarm seams first and then setting your sleeve into the circle because it's more comfortable, it fits better, it's nicer sewing overall. The sleeve is such a big part of how the garment feels to someone wearing it. And when you set it in like that, it is a lot more comfortable. if it was kind of a tricky armhole to fit, you know, especially if there's no ease. So you shouldn't have any problem with this. I didn't even pin it. I mean, you guys, okay? I know these armholes make you nervous, but this one's pretty easy. All right, so now I'm gonna trim the body pretty close again. So you can see my generous 1/2 inch seam allowance. You don't, this is when I accidentally, that's what it was on my free range slacks. I accidentally cut the other side. And remember, this is gonna be exposed. Like that is the outer fabric. So you really wanna make sure you don't hurt it in this part right here. I can't remember how it happened, but I remember when it happened. Because I was, there was pretty much no getting around the fact that I cut it. So things happen, right? And it hasn't been an issue, like that little spot. All right, let me iron this one again. Oops. At least we're going a little faster now, right? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what happened? You guys still here? Are you guys still here? I just got a major, like, error looking thing. Let me know you're still here. You guys are still here, right? It says it's okay. Okay. Okay, okay. Weird. Yeah, you're here. Okay, okay. Aw, Ray, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll be here next week. I think it was just my live chat thingy. Phew. Okay, you guys. Thanks for telling me. That was really weird. I got the weirdest looking message just now. I've never seen it before. And you guys know I am a big time noob. All right, let me keep ironing here. Okay, so you can see I trimmed off that edge on the body. There we go, there we go. Press the sleeve. I feel more confident this time now that we've done one, that I am on the right track. Thanks for coming, Ray. No worries, don't worry. This is a longer stream than usual, so don't worry. Next time we won't be so long probably. I mean, they do kind of tend to run long sometimes, but I'm really glad you came. No problem. There's no pressure here. Okay. Okay. We are here. We are here. I love it. It's like you're all doing roll call. Here, here, here. That was the craziest looking error. The whole screen turned red and brown. The weirdest color scheme too. And then it said, whoops, we had an error. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Everything looks okay. And because there's a delay in chat, like I don't know, it's kind of a long delay. I had to wait to see when you guys heard me. I thought, was it this camera? What happened? What happened? Okay, so I'm just hemming it over this little edge. I'm not really, like, this edge isn't filling up my seam allowance, but I'm making sure that this cut edge just goes to the seam. So I think if you're doing one of these, the tip I would give is to be as even in your seam allowance as possible, so that like this step here is the easiest and you don't have to fiddle with the width, because when you go to iron it, if you just fold it in half, you're going to be fine and it's going to be nice and even. And I think that that will give you the best look. So just make sure your seam allowance is even when you go to do it, and then just trim it. That would be my tip. It's a little, this part right here is a little fiddly. I'm sure it looks fiddly too. And my iron lately, I think I need a new iron. It's shooting steam out the side, which is burning the heck out of my fingers. Okay, let's see here. What is that? Okay. Like, what is that thread? You know, I'm not sure I have buttons. I just realized I don't have buttons. What was I thinking? I might be able to do buttons and buttonholes. I may not even have buttons. Ah, that's not so good. Here. I'm not known for pre-ironing very much, so this part is a little... It's all for you guys. Okay. All right, and I'll fuss with this at the machine. Okay. Let me see my chat is working. I don't think that's working. Oh, Julia, you're on Twitch right now? Okay, yeah, okay, so my unified chat's not working. That's what's the problem. Or you're doing both, aren't you? You tech savvy gal. Okay, here we go. Okay. You could pin this if that makes you feel better. Like, totally pin it. I think my awl is pretty handy for stuff like this. It's kind of like binding, you know, kind of like hemming. You know? All right. This little top part, the top part's probably the fussiest because you have some thicknesses with the yoke seam. And then it gets suddenly thinner when you get over that seam. But I feel like this is where on my other one it didn't look as good, that spot. Did we look at the inside? I forgot to look at the inside. I wanted to see how it looked. Flat felt seams too are like, I feel like when I first saw them in clothing, I was like, what's going on here? Like I couldn't even figure it out. I couldn't even wrap my head around what I was looking at, like in denim. You know, I noticed it on the inseam, I think it is. Is it the inseam that they do it on? Right, the inseam? And it was a long time before I realized that that's what I was looking at was a flat felt seam. I really couldn't. It's just one of those seams that looks so mysterious when you see it sewn. You're like, what's that? How'd they do that? It's magic. And now you know, it's like there's nothing magical. Did I just run out of bobbin? No, I didn't. I'm bound to, though. All right. Okay, okay. Wait. See, this is what I don't want to see. I don't want to see that. Like, I don't want to see that. That's what I'm worried. Oh, sorry. That's what I punched you guys. That's what I'm worried about. We'll see. Okay, so let's look at the instructions for the side seam. Let's try and do it the way she has it. That is good. Wait, is this the page? Oh, it is. Okay, seams. But this time the fold seam allowance will be on the outside of the garment so that both... Okay, so this is interesting. We just did the sleeves the opposite the way she said because she wanted them on the inside. And now she has the sides underarm seam going to the outside, which is what we just did. So we'll try and be good sewists this time with all these here. The shirt back and sleeve back, 1/4 inch. Shirt front and sleeve front, 5/8 of an inch. Okay. Okay. Okay, now this makes sense of why the seam allowance was notched. Remember, I was like, why is the seam allowance notched? If you guys were here for my horrible cutting stream of this, because I got a tickle in my throat. I was kind of like, oh, I'm not going to notch the seam allowance. That's why. So if she was watching, she was probably like, ah, this person. All right, so you're gonna do it wrong sides together. I was just doing it the wrong way already. And you're going to offset the seam allowances. The shirt front is 5/8 and the back is 1/4. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up your seam here so that 3/8 is poking out right here. So basically, like you do this seam, this on the front is 5/8, on the back is 1/4. So if you line up this raw edge to your 5/8 inch line on your throat plate, and your needle is 1/4 of an inch in on your back, you're good to go. That's my logic. I can probably back this off a little more. And then let's look at with my ruler. 1/4 and 3/8. Okay, good to go. So this is kind of interesting that she's helped you out with the seam allowance, which is kind of nice, you know? That way you don't have to do the trimming. Yeah, Julia, thank you. All right, and then we'll just maintain that. Because basically what she's done is she's taken out the step of the trimming that I just did. How nice, huh? And line up your armhole. Go all the way down through to your hem. There's the thread that attacked me. I just saw that out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, wait, I recognize that. All right. Let's do this one. It's easier to do this with the front on the bottom. So you can see. We're almost done with our shirt. Very exciting. Okay. We'll get a nice quick seam here. I never really get to sew flat out on this machine. Look at all these threads. What a pain, what a pain. Okay. So this part's kind of tricky because you don't have a whole lot of space to work. But let's iron it and that'll make it a little easier. Hi, Carol. Oh, you're taking on vacation. Nice. You're on vacation, I mean. You're taking a little break. Nice. I'm making a men's shirt right now. I'm almost done. Kind of, you know. I'm going to iron this now. Cam. That was for Julia. Oh, jeez. This armhole seems kind of small. I'm a little worried about it. Alright, and then this is a lot easier because you have that 1/4 inch to wrap around. So much easier. It just wants to fold itself. That's nice, huh? Pretty nice, pretty nice. Yeah, I think a lot of people are on vacation right now. Like, I want to keep a consistent stream schedule, and I would have, except for my allergies last week. But I also know, like, you know, it's summer vacation, you know, so I don't really have to. I don't really have to. No one's making me do this, right? Yeah, we usually take pretty, like, big vacations, and we're not this year. And the summer's almost gone, so we're gonna go away for the weekend. The heck? Oh, that little hem shape, I almost folded it in on itself. There we go. Alright. It's a little thick right there. It'll be fine. So I'm pressing this towards the back. Doing these flat felt seams. Hi Cassandra, how's it going? You just got back, Lisa? Where'd you go? And where are you, Carol? Are you somewhere really cool? Or are you just doing a simple thing? Or, I mean, I don't know how to phrase all that. All vacations are great. My daughter was pretty disappointed we weren't traveling this summer, but I was like, you know what? How about we not travel, because you really want to move out next year, and you know, it's been a long time since we've actually taken you around California. Or, you know, she was kind of interested in Colorado, you know, and I was like, why don't we just do that? And then and maybe do something bigger with her before she moves out. We've traveled a little bit. My husband travels a lot for work, so it's just one of the things we've been able to do, which has been really nice. Last year we went to Iceland at this time, and it was a big trip, people. So I'm kind of glad we're not doing a really big trip, but at the same time, I do want to do one more big one before she moves away. And he's taken her with him on his work travel, which has been great. She's independent study, so it works out. Maine. Oh, cool. Bar Harbor and Camden. Isn't that near you, Julia? Really, Terry? I need a new iron. Oh, cool, Carol. How fun. That's fun. Yeah, it's hard to have your own routine when you have visitors, you know, especially kids. They have their own agenda and routine and all that, and it's just kind of good to go with the flow. Okay. Almost there, guys. Mine's not holding water anymore. I think it just got dropped too many times. I don't know who dropped it. The gravity feed is when, is that what you call the kind where the table pulls on your fabric? I know people really like them. Hi, Louise. You're on holiday too? Aw. That's sweet of you guys to like come. You guys need to enjoy your vacations. Okay, let's sew this down. I ironed it for the most part. We are pro at these old flat fell seams now, aren't we? Sorry to the folks who wanted French seams. Sorry, I like asked your opinion and I overruled you. The sleeve seems small. Doesn't it? The ham barely fits in it. But her, you know, the thing is, in a way, that could be a good thing because most things are sized too big for my husband. I think I made this, he wears a medium only because his shoulders are pretty broad. He was a fencer, you know, like for a long time. Oh, water tank. Okay. Oh, okay. That's good to know, Julia. So Julia's back on YouTube, so you can see her comment. Okay. Yeah, I probably need a new iron. I have the same one at home. I could just bring that one here until it doesn't work. I could just get another one, but I don't know. I'm all about waiting as long as possible. That looks okay. What, you guys have mentioned Waywack. What is that? Is that just like a sewing supply place? What is this right here? It's not my back stitch. What the heck is it? Is it my back stitch? I don't usually back stitch. Maybe I back stitch. So I'm starting from the bottom and going up because you have to go through the sleeve. And if you start from the sleeve and go down, I just feel like it'll be a little easier so that you only have a little bit to go when you get there. All right. This thickness is actually not too bad right there. It's nice that, you know, it's a flat felled seam that we're sewing, so it does kind of want to behave because it's nice and flat itself, except for all the little like thready threads I'm getting because my fabric it just wants to do that, you know. So you guys, I have 2 more classes on the schedule at my local fabric store, and I don't know what to sew. I don't know what to teach next. Sewing and cleaner supply. Oh, okay. Okay. There's something like that here. I mean, I use one for the industry, like the garment industry. All right, you guys, let's see. I'm gonna try it on. My husband and I are almost the same size. I'm a little bigger than him. Oh, that's fine. How's it look? I can't see myself. I don't know what I'm teaching. I need a subject. I'm going to make my camera bigger so I can see myself. Feels pretty good. There we go. This color looks so good on me. Oh, they have maxi lock thread. That's good. That's good thread. I have that for my serger. Yeah, the sleeves look really good. All right, so Let's figure out the hem. I'm going to do this on the ironing board. Quick and dirty. I'm gonna hold this up to my husband's shirt to figure out the length. You know? Keeping the side seam lined up there. Side seam's nice. Like, it feels really nice. So you kind of want to go by the side seam length, but you want to measure the length from the shoulder up here at the top, because that's where it hangs from. The shirt, you know, he's pretty standard. Oh, so this isn't, I thought this was a little longer. So I could probably stick with this, but maybe I would trim a little bit. This is more of a straight hem. This is more of a curved hem. I could just straighten this, but I don't think I will. I think I'm gonna just trim off about 1 inch. It's not an E-cut, Cassandra. It's actually printed. Look, the back is solid. Isn't that crazy? I thought it was an E-cut. I was completely fooled. I don't know, Louise. It could be a beginner class. I feel like the Willow tank, you know, we didn't get, it was my first time teaching, right? So we didn't get all the way through. We got pretty much all the way through. Yeah, I'm eyeballing it. Pretty bad, huh? Pretty naughty of me, huh? Okay. Whew, boy, look at these threads. Grab my scissors. Yeah, so I feel like, okay, so I have one in the, I teach one in the fall and one at the end of August. I was thinking maybe like the tamarack jacket, since it's right before, you know, fall. Or a jacket or something like that. That tamarack's not completely hard. The welt pockets could be a bit advanced, but we could do an alternative to that. And I think that's the one I have a 2-day class scheduled for, and then I have a 1-day, like a 4-hour one again in the fall. So I need to figure it out soon so people will sign up. All right, so where is our little, I'm looking for the shape right here of the hem. Yeah. Yeah, I like the way my tamarack came out. And you know, I guess I think of that as like a great crossover piece to attract quilters to garment sewing, but I actually think I'm misplaced in thinking that, because
quilters don't quilt like that. You know what I mean? Like they don't, you know, a lot of them send out their quilts to be quilted. And if they quilt, they're not quilting the way you do on a tamarack. So it's not really a great gateway garment like I was thinking to lure them. And there's a lot of quilters around here. A lot of amazing quilters around here. Just trying to get my sleeve hem even. It looked a little off there. This is so unlike me. I don't usually iron so much for my hems, do I? Who is this person? Are they making a birthday gift, maybe? Yeah, it has some challenges, right? And that's the thing is, like, I feel like time-wise, it's a tough one because, you know, you have to cut out your garment and then quilt it. So it's not like people can come with their fabric pre-quilted unless they buy it that way. So we'd be spending a lot of time in class quilting our fabric, which could be really fun, you know? But I don't want people to feel like I didn't come here, I didn't pay for this class to sit here sewing straight lines on my fabric, you know? You know what I mean? So, we'll see. Hi, Nancy, you're back. All right. Yeah, it really would be a good addition to anyone's wardrobe. You know, and we could make it a, you know, I want a vest version. I want a quilted vest. Wouldn't that be cute? I would really like to make a quilted vest. So maybe I could do that. I could do a quilted vest. What if I did a class on how to do certain skills like setting in sleeves, French seams? I don't know. Does that seem boring? I always try and think, like, what would I pay for? You know? What would I pay for? The winky face, that's pretty cute. I think it does it automatically if you do put a winky face in there. All right, so let's sew the hems. Yeah, I better start thinking about this class though, because it'll happen before I know it. Bye, Julia. Nice seeing ya. This doesn't even sound like it's sewing to me. I was like, I'm using home sewing thread, which is not typical, but this blue worked way better than my other one. And I pre-wound the bobbins on my other machine, but you know, it's like, I hope I have enough thread, but I'm gonna have plenty. Yeah, right, Nancy? Welt pockets. Oh yeah, like do include welt pockets. You say that like I'm really good at those. I think I've sewn them once with you guys, right? But that is a good way to look at it. Like, what would you pay to take a class on? You know, and I feel like once you get kind of some of those little things like down pat, sewing anything isn't as scary. You know what people really want is how to fit things. That's what they really want. They want their garments to fit. Right? It's hard to teach a class on that. All right. Straighten that out a bit right there. All right, so now we just have our hems on the bottom. We're gonna make sure our placket matches before we start sewing. This is something I always forget to do. Don't forget to do this. Always forget it. My placket, look at that. It matches perfectly right now. Guarantee you when I'm done sewing it won't, because I am just, I don't know, completely inept at sewing a hem evenly, even if it looks even to me. So this is looking pretty sharp though. Okay, I don't really like that it's kind of winging out like that though. So I'm gonna make this more square. If anything, it should go up. And I know I need to do that to the other side. So we'll do that to the other side. Of course, it doesn't look like it's doing that. So let's lay our placket on it. Fitting, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, right, Louise? That is exactly it. Like, I know there's a really great gal who does fitting classes at the local fabric store, and she really knows what she's doing. But it's like, I know I've heard from her side, and I've heard the people who take her class side. It's really tough to walk out of there with like, yes, I got this. I know what to do for my body. I know what to do to this pattern. Everyone's completely unique and different. You can see 4 people standing next to each other with the exact same measurements, and they can look drastically different from each other, you know? So I think like really what it is knowing how to adjust things yourself. Not someone doing it for you. But you know, really look at that. Now look at how you saw how little I trimmed off. Can you see that? How much different that is. So it's like, okay, what do I do when this happens? What do I do when that happens? But then you have to mimic those issues, you know? It's just really comes from a lot of time doing things. All right, I'm going to trim this off. It happened twice. Measure 8 times, measure twice, 2 more times, and then cut. That's my policy. Okay, so I'm going to look at his hem. I do this a certain way, but I kind of want to see how they do it. Yeah, okay. I'm going to do that. All right, I'm going to do it just the way they do it. Fold it straight up. Usually I fold in a corner, but I actually don't like the way that looks sometimes, and it makes it kind of stretch out. Like when I do that, it stretches out and makes a little point. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, I think Julia already left, Nancy, but I'll try and remember to message her on Instagram. So you went a size up. Oh no, it wasn't Julia. It was Miriam, who might be live streaming right now. Maybe if we rate her, I can tell her. Okay, so I'm actually going to do what they did. I'm going to start on the edge and go up the placket and go across. That was my pincushion falling again. Why is my pincushion falling today? All right, I'm just going to fold this. I kind of loosely do it so that it's not pulling. Now I'm getting any torquing. This curve isn't too steep. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, and I know that same gal, she teaches pattern drafting classes. She's really like braver than me, like by a long shot. Like, and I did get a little bit of pushback from people that were like, "Why did you make us cut out the Wixton tank before we got here?" They didn't like that. And I heard that, and I'm like, okay, you know, I hear that, but the thing is, it's like, it's only 2 pattern pieces, right? It's only the front and the back. We can fit it. I knew what we could fit, that pattern. because it didn't have a sleeve. I wasn't worried about it. But one or two people needed to cut it out there, and that was fine. It's not like I was like, get out of here, you know. I was just trying to cut down on the amount of time, and because I knew that there would be very little in the way of, you know, negative fit adjustments that could happen because it was already cut, I thought, oh, this is going to be the best thing. So. The only thing I did was I had them all trim off that 3/4 of an inch at the bottom armhole. Okay, so this is when I feel like when you're kind of getting close to the end here and you have this curve, it's really easy for this to end up going like this edge, the cut edge going past the center front. So I like to start already getting it folded up. And because I famously get my plackets the wrong size, I'm going to look at it right now before I get there. Because I'm trying to hold this even. Yeah. Okay, like that. All right, so now I'm going to fold that like that. And I'm going to pin it. My pins are on the ground, so I'm going to clip it. Now I'm going to try and ease all this in here, which isn't hard. The curve kind of helps. The curve can be a negative thing and a good thing because there's a little, it gives you a little bias, so you can kind of fudge it a little easier. All right, I got it. Okay. Make sure my hem doesn't go past my center front. Kind of ooching it in there. I did go a little bit past. I kind of like that they do that. It's kind of interesting. It does make it a little more flat and secure and make sure that it doesn't go past. Okay, you guys. Not bad, right? I kind of like that my little labels on the flowers, you know. I'm done except for the buttons and buttonholes. Who said that? It looks pretty cute. What do you guys think? I like it. I think it looks really nice. Oh, sorry. The lighting is so bad. Ooch! Yep. Yeah. What am I going to avoid? Wait, was it the hem thing? Yeah, so this looks really nice. Really nice pattern. Pocket right here. Can you see that? Let's really look at the back. Here, let me, here's some pins. Ooch. You gotta ooch. I learned that from the pattern drafter at one of the outdoor companies I worked. She would always say, it just needs a little, to ooch a little bit to the left or something. I learned that from her. And then I know someone else said, or maybe she used to say scotch. Just a scotch or something like that. That one I can't say, so I didn't pick it up. It's my back. It looks nice. The flat felt seams are a really nice touch. Look how nice and flat the armhole looks. 2 thumbs up. Can you see that? Sorry, my picture's in the way, huh? The color is like better in person, right? Yeah, you know, Louise, it's a print. Scotch. Yeah. A touch. Ooch. I just say ooch it over. Don't tell my husband's cute. Yeah, we can't have him being cute, huh?
I don't think he wears the pants I made him. He says that he does, but I don't know. Right now he probably doesn't because it's kind of too hot. I know he doesn't because it's too hot right now. Like he doesn't wear jeans. Maybe this weekend, but I don't think I've seen him in the closet when he goes on a trip. So that's a good sign, right? That he's not grabbing those. So I like to be honest about what he makes and see what he's grabbing and what he's not grabbing. My daughter, but on the other hand, since I made her those City Gym shorts, only wants to have shorts like that. So like even yesterday we were shopping and she saw some like that. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, I know someone who can make those. So, yeah, thanks, Nancy. I really like the way this turned out. It looks really good. It doesn't look homemade. The little loop, I think, will buffer the edges of the collar, so hopefully it's not poking him or anything. He likes flowers. Like, he doesn't mind stuff like that, so I think he'll appreciate that. The first shirt I ever made him was a butter-colored long sleeve button-down shirt. And I'll have to find it and bring it in. You guys will really appreciate it. It'd be fun to see my sewing from that long ago because I haven't kept anything. So I embroidered behind the pocket right here on the chest a heart. And then I embroidered right here on the collar stand. I was really into ribbon embroidery then, the silk ribbon embroidery. I did flowers, and he loved that. And then when I took him to the store to pick out buttons, he picked out these butter yellow buttons that matched, but were etched with a flower, really simple flower. They looked really good, and I was so excited to pick those. Yeah. Yeah, you think so, Lisa? That's awesome. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I didn't want to get too crazy with like adding the contrast on the stand or something like that. Because you think, oh, on the collar stand, no one will see that and it'll be still a hint. But they do, because when they open up their shirt like this, you see it right here. I've done that before, and it's just a little too much sometimes. Yeah, she's really liking that style short. They look good on her. Like, she's got nice long legs for those shorts, you know. And I think they're just great when you're really active. And she goes to the river almost every day here, so they're short enough that they're not getting wet. And I think that helps. So they have a black one with dragonfly print. The fabric, ooh. Oh, I think I've seen that, Louise. I think I've seen that on Instagram. Yeah, this is so interesting that this is a print. I would have never known that. So, like, what I would worry about is, say, you made this for someone who wears backpacks a lot. It looks like a yarn dye, but then the backpack could rub off the print. That's the truth for anything, but when it's an all-over print like this, you know. So, yeah, cool. Well, and thanks, guys. Now I have my birthday gift ready. I got him a couple other little things, but hopefully, this was just part of my gift. So now I need to find some buttons. Maybe I'll let him pick again. So I'm sorry that the lighting is. Let's see if I can do the better. Nope, not that one. Let's see if I can get the lighting a little better. Let's see. Move this all the way so I can see what's happening. Monkeying around with this stuff is so weird. Like, I'm touching this, but nothing's happening. It's okay. But what just moved? Yeah, it's a little more like that. It's not, it's kind of it's such a dark navy. Maybe like that. That's kind of better. It's kind of better. So profesh. Right? It's kind of funny when you want the things you're making to not look like you made them, right? Because in a way you're like, you don't want anyone to know, but at the same time it's like, well, you kind of want to know.
Oh, Julia said a whole bunch of things on Twitch. She's not here. The Maine border is 90 minutes north of her. Bar Harbor is 6 hours away. I was wrong. She's not that close to that. It's not a vacuum table. She has one of those. Gravity feed, there's a tank of water. Okay. Yes, big catalog. That must be way whack. Lovely. Long ago, my mom had a custom great drapery shop, and the ladies did outline quilting of the big flowers for matching cushions. They used to let me do some of one of the slower machines. Oh, that's cool. That was when we were talking about the tamarack. You're welcome, Carol. Yeah, I didn't see any of those things popping up either, Nancy. Who knows? Oh, well. Isn't that nice? I don't know, Terry. I don't have buttons yet. Hopefully I find some, right? Quick. I just got my sewing machine back, so I'm kind of excited to do some buttonholes on it. But now my throat is so, I'm about to lose my voice, I can tell. So, you guys, thank you. Thanks for hanging with me. So I know we lost a few people, like a few people I don't think he tuned in this week. They're like, this person is never around anymore. But we'll get back to normal schedule soon. So next week I'm going to do, we're going to learn how to sew a muslin. Like, I'll just show you how quickly I do it. Wednesday. And then I'm going to do the uniform tunic. And then on Thursday and Saturday we'll sew it. And that Thursday will be my 100th video upload, which is crazy. So that'll be fun. So anyway, you guys, thank you. I'm really glad. Oh, you're back, Ray. Awesome. Yeah. We'll be here. I'm usually here Thursdays and Saturdays for sure. Wednesdays we usually cut something out. But you know, things happen. I'm not a daily streamer. I would love to be a daily streamer, but the prep for that and the expense of how much we would be sewing, I can't really bear that. I don't need that many clothes, you know. So, you know, if we had people like saying, hey, would you sew this for us? We could do a lot more streams, and maybe that'll happen someday, because I would love to. I do need some ice cream. You're right, Lisa. Absolutely. I had some gelato yesterday. It was pretty good. So, all right. Well, thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Sorry I won't be here this weekend, but I definitely didn't want to miss you guys today. And then I'll see you Wednesday for sure, and get back on Tuesday. So I'll get my my uniform tunic cut out. So 100, yeah. That'll be fun. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming, and have a great weekend. Bye. Where's my mouse? Okay, there we go. Bye.